Welcome to my throwback review for today. This is a watch I've reviewed in the past, I think almost a year ago. But this is a watch I like so much that I thought it's time to do another review in slightly better lighting. As those of you who are familiar with my channel know, this is a Seiko Kinetic Perpetual watch, the SNP001. In fact, this was the very first of the 7048 movements that Seiko released in 2006 in Basel, and this has I think the smallest rotor ever made for a watch. The rotor is actually measured in microns, so that's how small the motor on this is. So obviously, as with any kinetic, let's get started with the party trick. So let's shake it up and come on, start up. And let's wait for time to catch up. All Seiko kinetic perpetuals go into a power save mode if they haven't been used in over a day, and that just saves the battery. So right now, as you can see, this hadn't been used in a while, so it's going to start catching up with whatever is the time now. While it catches up, the one thing that you should know is that the date will keep moving regardless. The 7048 has a 4-year battery save feature, which means if it has a full charge of battery, and batteries, these lithium batteries do wear out, and there you go, it's just caught up with the present time. So if this has a full battery, it will go into a power save mode and save the time for up to 4 years. The date will keep moving every day, but you can just put this in a drawer and take it out after 6 months, 8 months, a couple of years, and it will just catch up to the present time. So that's a very useful feature for a dress watch, which typically doesn't get worn all the time. This is a 40mm watch. It's actually a little smaller on the underside. You'd realize it's more like 38 or 39 because it tapers down the case. It looks like a thick case, but it's only a 12mm case. Lug to lug is about 46. Let's get a focus on it, yeah. And the band is a standard 20mm Seiko band. So, the bracelet here is a standard 20mm. You can put a leather band on it if you want. The crystal is a sapphire crystal with a fabulous anti-reflective coating. And so, in certain angles, you'd realize it's almost as if the crystal doesn't exist. You can see right through. It has fabulous polishing. Let me actually pause. Yeah, I needed to just get rid of the fingerprint smudges on it, because this Premier, and bear with me while I make the statement, has the same level of polishing that the Zaratsu polishing that you see on Grand Seikos. And I should know. I do have, I can compare to the Grand Seikos that I own, and they really have the exact same level of polishing. The one difference is Seiko Premiers are obviously made by robots and machines. Grand Seikos are assembled by hand, so obviously the production costs are much higher on Grand Seikos. But really, in terms of finishing and fit and finish, it's exactly comparable to a Grand Seiko at a fifth of the price. This was about a $500 watch when these were new. And you can definitely see the quality. There is no surface on this that does not have a texture. There's a very fine, let me see if I can pick this up. There is a super fine radial groove on the rehaut and the elevated part of the dial. Obviously the hour index are all applied indices, and they also have, they are beveled on the edges and they're polished, and they have these vertical grooves that run along the edge of the markers. The party trick, the obviously the party trick of the 7D48 is the auto relay feature. It has a date feature at the 12 o'clock. It has a leap year with a beveled window at the 9 o'clock, which it does need because it's a perpetual calendar. Once you set the date on it, it will keep the year and the date for the next till really 2100. So you never need to worry about leap years and things like that because it just remembers it. And that's why this shows the leap year feature out here. So that's basically, it says +1 leap year, which means it's 1 year after a leap year. And when it's a leap year, it'll say LY. At the 6 o'clock, you will see the month. And at 3 o'clock, you're going to see the 24-hour clock. This does not have a day feature, which I personally find a little annoying. I wish the watch had a day feature. But this is a dress watch. So, you're not going to get a loom also with this because dress watches just traditionally have never had looms. The way the date change is almost instantaneous. It happens a little before midnight, and it just, with one click, the date changes to the next day. The one interesting thing is this watch looks fairly large. If I take out my SPB147, this watch is actually smaller than my SPB147 by 0.5 millimeter. This is 40 millimeters. This is about 40.5 millimeters. The lug to lug is 46. This is 47.5. But on the hand, this watch wears much larger than its size would suggest. And that really has to do with the fact that the crystal stretches from almost, a much larger dimension compared to the much smaller crystal on the SPB147. I'm just using the SPB147 on a whole bunch of reviews because this watch is right now in rotation. The hands have this beautiful long second marker. That's why you can see the lollipop at the other end to weigh it down. And even though it has a matte finish, it has a beveled hour and minute marker, which does look very elegant when the matte, it does catch the light. As I said, the Rehot has these radial grooves on which you'll find a print of the Roman numerals, kind of to make it look elegant. Then there is, the dial is split into two levels. You have again those radial grooves. So it looks like a satin finish when you look at it in a distance, but it just catches the light and glows in this way only a textured dial can glow. It's a very unique glow. And the main dial obviously has this grid pattern on it with again another fine texture. And then you have the month and the 24-hour, and these also have radial grooves on it. There is really no surface on this that does not have a texture or very fine polish. Now obviously my watch has been worn almost every day ever since this watch was first purchased many years ago, because this was purchased when this line was released. And remember, this is SNP001. That means that was the first of the perpetual model in the Seiko Premier line. It is unfortunate that Seiko is no longer making the Kinetic watches, because in my opinion the Kinetic watch is truly a step forward in the design of watches, with the convenience of not having to deal with changing batteries, but the accuracy and the precision of a quartz watch. Any other thoughts? There's, all I can say is, of the many watches that I own, the Omegas, the Girard Perigos, the Seikos, the Grand Seikos, you name it. This Seiko Kinetic Premier is still one of the watches I wear as frequently as I can. I know it's not a style for many people. Many people prefer something that's a bit more conventional. I know these divers are insanely popular these days. But honestly, if you ask me, the this is a notch above the premium Seikos these days. Even though this was a $500 watch back in the day, and that's a $1,000 watch right now, this is a watch that almost reaches Grand Seiko quality of fit and finish. When this was released, Grand Seiko was not an international brand. You had to go to Japan to buy your Seiko Grand Seikos. And I'm sure if they release this watch now, they could easily collect a couple of $1,000s on this watch with an automatic movement. Anyway, I just wanted to bring this watch back just because I love this watch so much. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please be sure to hit like and subscribe to my channel. And I will see you on another video.